Hey there, and welcome to Sunday Musings, where every week I spend a little time talking about something that's been on my mind. I also write a complimentary blog hosted on Medium. The link's right here. In that, you can always find additional content to what I'm speaking about. I would love to have a conversation with you, so please feel free to leave a message on my post, comment, or if you stick around till the end of the video, you can find the link to my calendar. Please, I welcome you to set an appointment so we can have a conversation. This week is another book discussion, and I chose a book this week by Patrick Lencioni called Getting Naked. Now, to be fair, it might have been a book I chose because of the title, because it just sounds fun. But I was also a little tired and just needing something lighter. There's been a lot going on in my life and in the world around, and sometimes, even though I'm really big about continuing my own education and development, I just want to have some fun, and the title inspired me. Getting Naked is really focused around sales and client or customer relationships. But I don't want you to be scared away if you're not in sales, because I'm going to argue that every single one of us sells something all the time. Whether you are trying to get somebody to sign on to a new adventure, to hire you or promote you, where you're selling yourself and your own attributes and values, where you're seeing if somebody wants to go on a date with you and you're selling them on why they should take a chance with you. There's so many things in our life where we are trying to convince somebody to do something, where we are selling them on an idea, that I think that this book is applicable to everyone. And it really focuses on something that I've talked about a lot lately: vulnerability, the power of vulnerability. You may recall from a recent book review that I did, or some of my recent posts from Brené Brown on the power of vulnerability, that I think it's one of the more powerful things that we have in our arsenal, and arguably one of the most challenging or scary tools for us to embrace. Vulnerability is being willing to show your emotion and your authentic self, to be transparent, letting people see your weaknesses as well as your strengths and any of the mistakes you might make, and owning them. It's not being afraid to say, I don't know the answer to that, or I'm not sure, or to make a suggestion that you're not sure will work, and being willing to try anyhow. So transparency, vulnerability is really the foundation of the book. And like all of Patrick Lencioni's books, he sets a framework after he tells a delightful story that illustrates what's going on. And in here, he really talks about 3 fears that you need to overcome in order to embrace open vulnerability, to build relationships between you and others, and to get them to consider what you're trying to get them to do, whether it's selling a product or convincing them to get into mischief with you or to try something new. The first fear is the fear of losing the business or being rejected, being told no. It's hard. You walk up to somebody and you ask them something and you get brave and you work yourself up and you're rejected. You might feel embarrassed with that. You might feel hurt. You might feel let down. That fear can actually be very paralyzing and can stop you from ever even making the attempt in the first place. But there's an old saying, nothing lost, nothing gained. Or if you're into the gym, no pain, no gain. You have to try in order to get results. If you never try, you can never fail, but you also can never succeed. So if we think about this in terms of business, how can you do that? First, you need to consider projecting calm confidence. Even if you don't really feel it, you can fake it till you make it, because people sense fear. Think about it. You know when somebody's talked to you and you know that they're afraid. You can tell right away that they're afraid. And that makes you feel less confident in taking a chance with them. So try and project a sense of calm confidence. Next, stop thinking about the result. I know that's a little counterintuitive, but instead focus on the journey and working with people and helping. Genuinely offer assistance and support. Don't be afraid to actually start helping or doing the things that you want them to eventually buy into. Some people say that you might be giving away the business for free or giving away something for nothing. But the reality is that's not. It's an investment in the relationship. It's building trust and confidence in you. And that is never time or effort spent poorly. Being able to communicate effectively with people and to really listen and ask questions is important. And that brings us around to our second fear, which is the fear of being embarrassed, of people thinking that you don't know. Some people believe that if you ask questions, that maybe you're not smart enough or good enough or you know enough, and people might fear being judged. But the reality is, asking questions fosters communication. And sometimes those questions might be simple and everyone around you knows. But quite often, if you ask a question, someone else in the room has the same question. Or asking questions might invoke a thought in the person you're speaking with so that they are suddenly having an epiphany of another sort. And it was because you asked a question. On the other side of it, don't be afraid to make suggestions, even if they're a little crazy and outlandish. Some of those suggestions might make no sense, but other ones, it might be just enough out of the box that they inspire creativity and a new potential solution that nobody thought of before. The third biggest fear that we have is the fear of feeling inferior. Really, that's based in our own personal insecurities and really kind of rooted in imposter syndrome or our own fears that maybe we aren't good enough. And you may have heard a nuance of that through the entire discussion, but really the secret of letting go of feeling inferior is to get out of your own head and start focusing on others. If you really focus all of your intent on what the person you're talking to wants and needs and feels, then it's about them, not about you. And it's a little easier to stop feeling like you're not good enough when you're actually focused on having a good conversation and really honoring everything that they bring to the table as well. So, in a quick wrap up, I seem to like every book I've ever read by Patrick Lencioni, and I look forward to the next. His business fables are probably among my favorites. They're an easy read with a good story that really resonates, even if it's not something that I specifically have experience in. And his frameworks are just intuitive. When you hear them, it's sort of like, why didn't I think of it? And because of that, I find them really easy to take forward with me. Have you read this book or any other book on building relationships and considering the solution and focusing on other people rather than yourself to build that buy-in for somebody to either purchase your product or your service or agree to go on an adventure with you or take a chance? I would love to hear more. And until next week,